important in this first stretch. Northern hooligan. Caught on TV kicking.
Kicking what?
Kicking a fellow musician at a brass band contest.
Was that you? I saw you last night on telly, young man. Yeah, you.
Well, my name's David Lever. I'm head of Rotherham School's music service. 13 days. It was in the early 60s when there was all sorts of political unrest. At the time I was only 3. But my knowledge of it is that it was the closest that the world had ever come to a nuclear fallout, and it's a total wipeout. And when Alexander came up with the idea of this, I wondered what on earth he was going on about, but once he explained the fusion of the Cuban and the Latin American and the communist influences, and of course the American influences, and all the different fusions of those styles of music, it very rapidly became quite an exciting project to be involved in.
I studied history for GCSE quite a few years ago, and one of the things that we did, it was actually a coursework piece, was the Cuban Missile Crisis. Something I did notice is that it was only really the political story that was told, and very much from the American perspective. And so there was very little to be unearthed about the Cuban perspective or the Soviet perspective, and there was not much about the lives of the real people in all the history books. The fact of the matter is that for these 13 days in 1962, the world came closer than it has ever come before to blowing itself up.
Let me introduce some people here. This is our Valentina. She's our female lead in the show. Valentina, her name is Danielle Grace Williams. She's come all the way from Barnsley to be with us today. Give a round of applause for Danielle.
Really excited that we got Danielle Grace Williams to be our Valentina, because she's a South Yorkshire lass. Not quite Rotherham, just up the road in Barnsley, although not quite in Barnsley, so somewhere in between.
One day I was looking on the internet and I found this website called Singers Pro, uploaded all my details, thought yes, have a search for a few auditions, and what popped up? 13 days auditions. I thought, oh, I'll give that a shot.
And we cast her as Valentina because of what is known in the trade as the high chest belt. Not that she's wearing literally physical belts up to here, but she's able to use her chest voice in a very powerful rock, soul, diva-ish kind of fashion. And we wanted that Valentina, and Daniel's certainly got that aplenty.
I got invited to an interview at Rotherham at the Arts Centre. Learnt the song that they wanted me to learn, and I didn't hear back from about 3 weeks later, had no clue. And when I did speak to Gary the next time round, he was like, oh yeah, I knew that day, but I just couldn't tell you. I was like, you've made me wait 3 weeks.
Can I also introduce you to Reid Sinclair? Now, talk about distance travelled.
Reid, fabulous tenor. You'll see it for yourself in the performance footage. We're very lucky to have Reid. He is originally from Canada, but he's based as a UK-based performer now, and he's been doing a lot of touring work around the UK.
Well, I'm playing 2 roles. I'm playing the role of Jim Hargreaves and JFK, and in 13 Days, the musical. And it all came about when a friend of mine contacted Gary, because Gary was looking for actors to audition, and I sort of got the background story as to what the piece is about, and then also where it's going to take place here in Wales, and how it's sort of a community project, etc. And so I'm very happy to be here.
There you go. Official Canadian accent and everything. That's it. All right. And can I now introduce you to Mr. Ben Watson? He's playing Andrei and Khrushchev.
I actually went to Nottingham to watch the Blues Brothers tour on purpose because Ben was in the cast there, and I was very interested, having seen his CV, to really take a look at him in performance.
I've always been interested in the Cuban Missile Crisis because I studied it at history and at GCSE, and I got an A star in GCSE. It's the only time I was ever good at history. I did it at A-level afterwards, and it went horribly wrong from there. We were rehearsing earlier, and we were doing Long Live Tomorrow, which is this grand, epic sort of anthemic piece, and it's just that you get the tingles. This is something else. To sing with a 60-strong choir and orchestra is fantastic.
We wanted to conduct a nationwide search, but we also ideally wanted to cast locally. We definitely found somebody in Kelly Marie Ellis who we really took a shine to for her involvement in the piece. So she's playing one of Valentina's friends, Donna, which I'm really pleased about.
This is completely different to anything I have ever done. I've never worked with an orchestra as big or a choir as big. It's just a completely new experience for me. David Lever is very supportive because he's always giving it a thumbs up, and Alexander Bermange, who was fantastic, went through everything that I did last night and is a lovely bloke. He really is.
We commissioned Alexander Bermange to compose this work 3 or 4 years ago now, and then of course we had to search for a reputable orchestrator to orchestrate it for the youth orchestra and for a school choir. So we're now in Wales High School, having just done the sort of first performance of an abridged version of this work because there just wasn't the time to perform everything.
Because I was born at a time that had me in the sixth form in 1962, we walked to the playing fields not knowing whether when we kicked off on that Wednesday afternoon at 2:30, because that was allegedly the time that if the Russian boats didn't turn, then they were going to be blown out of the water with all the consequences that would have affected the world. Consequently, we kicked off and didn't know that half an hour later we'd still be playing football and having winners and losers. There would have been far more losers if the other circumstances had come about.
I think you're very fortunate when you're working on something like this for such a long time if you really like the music. And I really like the music because I love Alexander Bermange's work. I think he is a lyrical, musical composer of worth.
You know how sometimes you go and you buy an album and you can put it on, you can listen to it from start to finish, and there's not that 1 or 2 tracks that you have to fast forward through? It's exactly that. It starts in every piece. I mean, I'm still on stage in the opening number and I literally get goosebumps.
Favourite song is Anyone But You, with my duet with Reed, which is playing Jim. In a kind of way, it's a twisted love story that the song tells. Valentina's met this great American guy, but she can't love him, and she shouldn't, and she knows she shouldn't. So that's very hard for her to do, and she's saying, I wish I never met you. Like, I wish I'd met anyone but you. I think the favourite song is More Than a Memory for me. I just love the tone of Reed's voice. I think he's got an amazing voice when he's singing that.
And Alexander's written beautiful music and beautiful lyrics, so it really is accessible to everything, and you get the Americanized Western music as well as the Cuban music and the Russian almost folk type songs, but none of it's ever, oh, hurry up and get this number over with. It's not, none of it is filler.
All of it. I like all of it. I like all the songs.
Because of my involvement in Walking on the Sun, I was invited by Alexander to narrate for 13 days. I feel it's a privilege to be working with such talent and the skill that they've harnessed and honed over all those years.
13 Days is a fantastic piece of music, and I think it deserves to be heard by more people, and I'm very happy and proud to be a part of the world premiere production team that's put this together.